Ride on roads that follow the spines of ridges, houses becoming fewer and farther in between, until at last Jim pulled accidentally past the address in question. It wasn't really his fault. I don't remember a mailbox or even seeing a fire number. He backed the truck up and we drove onto the gravel driveway. A woman was waiting for us in front of her house. Jim blurted out, "It looks like a shack." "She can probably read your lips, Dad," Virginia said. Her house was basically a shack, but she seemed kind enough, and there in what could loosely be considered her front yard stood a clawfoot tub in pretty good condition. We examined it closely. At one point my wife and I drew back from the woman, ostensibly to plan our negotiation. Should I try to talk her down? My wife looked at me askance. With my back turned towards the woman, I counted out $75. Jim was examining the tub with real curiosity. "It's funny," he said, "but Lynn and I had a tub just like this when we lived down the road." "What'd you do with it?" Virginia asked. "Well, eventually we took it out of the house and threw it in the granary." We turned to the woman. "Where'd you get it?" "In a granary, by a farm over the ridge." Jim stared at the tub with a strange mixture of disbelief and amusement on his face. He chuckled. "We even painted it yellow on one side. Couldn't paint the other side because it was up against a wall." We looked at the tub. Yellow paint flaked off one side of its long, fat belly. "It has to be the same tub," Virginia said. Jim shook his head. "No chance. Couldn't be." And with that, we loaded the tub into the bed of his truck and set off, back across the countryside, this time toward Strum, where we hoped to visit Jim's mother for coffee and cookies. Now, if I wrote a short story about a man and wife buying a clawfoot tub, and if the narrative eventually seemed to wind back around itself, back some 30 years, this clawfoot tub like some kind of awkward time-traveling vessel, moving through space and time to find the kin of its former owner, no one would believe it. Readers would call it sentimental, impossible, saccharine, and I suppose that it's possible that this is not the self-same tub that my in-laws once bathed in, that my wife presumably splashed in as a baby. But I choose to believe that it is, because that's the better story, the story about time and family and love and permanence. And permanence is